Symfony, this is official definition from Symfony's website. Symfony is a set of PHP components, a web application framework, a philosophy, and a community all working together in harmony. Now, for a newcomer who is new to Symfony, the philosophy and community part will be easier to understand. But it's the first two. Symfony is a set of PHP components and a web application framework that might be confusing. Symfony component is a fancy term used by Symfony to refer to a PHP library. It's just a directory with some PHP files that can be used. That's as simple as that. Most of these Symfony components are independent or very loosely coupled. They can be used separately from each other. And these components are reusable in any PHP application. In fact, you can use these components in Drupal 7 as well. Some example of these components are, there are actually more than 50 components if you look on Symfony's website. When I counted, it was 54. Some of these components are config for creating and using configuration of any kind, a form component that allows you to create and process form easily so that you don't have to create everything from scratch, HTTP Foundation, which is the most basic Symfony component for handling the request response flow in a framework. Let's see what Symfony framework is. Just like Drupal 8 is built on some Symfony components, Symfony framework is also based on these components, actually 35 of them. And Symfony framework also has code from other PHP libraries like Twig and SwiftMailer. Symfony framework in itself is a fully functional application when you install it, and it is meant to be a starting point for your web application. To see the difference between Drupal 8 and Symfony, Drupal is a full-fledged CMS with lots of ready-made and built-in features. Whereas Symfony framework, it is meant to be customized and extended from ground up. The differentiation between the framework and component, the question that I raised earlier, do we need to learn Symfony to learn Drupal 8? If we are talking about Symfony framework, the answer is no, you do not. And if we are talking about Symfony components, answer is yes, but the only ones that Drupal 8 uses. So I hope I helped in resolving the confusion if someone had it here. Now, to the boring part, Symfony components in Drupal 8. And these are the components that we'll be looking into. First 5, they form the core pipeline of Drupal 8. And if you are doing Drupal 8 development, it's quite possible that you'll be using code that is influenced by these components. Rest 4 are also heavily used by Drupal, but at a much lower programming level. And if you might not come into contact with those code, but learning about them will be helpful. This HTTP communication, most web framework, they implement a design pattern called as front controller, which take the request, sends the control to application. Application must send a response back, which the front controller then sends to the web client. And front controller maintains the control of request response flow. This is Drupal 8's index.php, and we will be looking into these 3 lines. If you look, first line is we create a request object. In second line, the handle function is used to pass the control to appropriate handler, but that handler must return a response back, and in the next line, that response is sent to the server. So this is how the flow of it looks. You will see that front controller index.php, it maintains the control over request response flow. It receives the request from a web client and sends the response back. This has been made possible by HTTP Foundation component of Symfony. It provides us with these 2 classes, request and response. Request class or request object gathers request data from all these PHP globals like $get, $post, $server, or $cookie functions, and puts them in a single request object, which is $request here. And response object allows us to set content for the page, the status code for the response, and response headers, and it allows us to send the response back using this send function. Routing is a process to match a request path to a function in Drupal 7 and a controller in object-oriented or Drupal 8 that then processes that request. And a route is this map from path to controller. In Drupal 8, the routing component of Symfony allows us to create a route in routing.yml file. So in this case, the path, again, my awesome path, is mapped to this controller, awesome controller object, and its awesome action method. Sorry. And this is the code, again, the same 3 lines. But you will notice here the handle function is actually the one that is passing the control to routing. So the flow looks like this. Request is sent to handle, which sends the routing process to routing component, which sends the response back. And to see the basic of routing, Symfony provides us with these 3 objects. These 3 objects are needed to do the basic routing. First is route collection. It is the object that gathers all the routes from all the routing.yml file, whether defined in core, in contrib module, or your own custom module. So it has list of all the routes. So we can see first, second, third, all those are routes. And then we have a request context object, which has information about the current request. So what path has been requested, what method for that path has been requested, and other parameters like base URL or host and all those things. And matcher is the object that actually matches that particular request to appropriate route and execute that route's controller. So we talked about API, and we can see here that this routing component allows us to create a path that can be handled by different controller for different methods. So in this example, awesome path can be handled by get action, post action, and delete action based on what method has been requested. So for this current request, which is a post method for awesome path, the post controller will be used because matcher will be matching to that. And this allows us to create powerful CRUD APIs, and we don't have to, I would say, this provides a very powerful support for creating those CRUD APIs, whereas in Drupal 7 we had to use very different modules. That's about the routing component. Next, we'll be looking into event dispatcher. In Drupal 8, this communication is facilitated by event dispatcher component of Symfony. And event dispatcher component introduces the concept of events. So an event is any action that an object needs to communicate to other objects. And since everything in Drupal 8 is object, Drupal 8 being object-oriented, it's the communication happens between these objects. So node deletion will again be an example of an event. Yeah. So how this event dispatcher component, it actually introduces this event dispatcher object, the central one, and that's a big bro. It's not wearing a cowboy hat. It's just a bro with 2 caps. So yeah. Event dispatcher creates this, gives us this central event dispatcher object, which acts as the mediator between the objects that are communicating. So in this case, comment and translation are, and I'm oversimplifying this, comment and translation are objects that needs to be communicated the event of node deletion. So they will register themselves as listeners because they will be listening to that event, and they'll register themselves as listener to event dispatcher. And this is the code of it. So if you find this code in Drupal, that means listener is being added to event dispatcher. Next, the object that is taking the action, that is executing that event, informs that to event dispatcher. And I've thrown some pirate lingo as well, because why not? And event dispatcher then communicates that action to the comment and translation, so to the listener. And this action of telling the listeners that event is executing is called dispatching the event. To those of you who do not like my creative drawings, this is the boring diagram. So in this case, delete, save, and update, those are the events. Comment, translation, and taxonomy, they are the listener. So first thing that happens is in code, using that dotted lines, these listeners will register themselves to dispatcher. And when that event is executed, through those blue lines, the dispatcher will tell these objects about the event happening, and then the listener can take appropriate action. So in case of node deletion, a comment will be deleting comments on that nodes, translation will be deleting translation, and taxonomy will be deleting terms, and so on. Next component that I would like to look into is dependency injection, and actually this is one of the most difficult one to grasp. So if you are not satisfied by what I am explaining, we have a dependency injection session later this evening in same room, the last session today, so please attend that. Dependency injection introduces these three major concepts in Drupal: services, service container, and dependency injection. And I've actually prepared script for this particular part because it is hard to explain and I might deviate off, so I'll be reading from that. We'll look into these one by one. Services. As I've repeatedly said, Drupal is now object-oriented. And being object-oriented, Drupal 8 has lots of objects. And some of these objects are useful throughout the application. So one example will be database object. It can be needed anywhere. So service is just a fancy term used by Symfony to call these objects. So in this case, a database object will be a service. It's still a simple object, but that's what Symfony and now Drupal 8 calls it. And any object, if you're writing a module in Drupal 8, you'll be creating various objects, in various PHP files. So if you want those objects to be available throughout your application, you can register them as a service in this service.yml file. This is the syntax for it. Service name, which class should be used to create that service, that is that object, and if any arguments needed to be passed to that constructor. This is the basic syntax. We have a lot other arguments and properties, but yeah, this is the basic. Service container is a special object, so another object that allows us to create and get the services that we talked about previously. So that is the syntax that we use: container object, get and pass the service name to it, and we get that object which we can then use in our application. Service container, when it is created, it gathers the list of all services that are defined from all the services.yml file. Again, just like routing.yml, these can be defined by Drupal core, Drupal contrib module, or your own custom modules. And service container then uses the info from those service.yml file to create these services. So for example, in this example, we have this service, we have class and arguments name. So this information is used by service container to create those services. Next, and this is I would say, one of the most difficult concept to grasp because of the way it is named. It's actually quite simple, so I'll try to cover it. Now, we have talked about services as useful objects. But we also said that almost everything in Drupal is an object. So most of the time, it will be an object using these services. That is, an object using another object, which means first object is dependent on the second object. So this second object becomes the dependency. And what dependency injection says, that an object should not create a dependency. So in this example, this code, instead, it should be passed the dependency as an argument. Dependency injection is as simple as that. Why dependency injection is needed? Because of these two major reasons. It facilitates encapsulation. And what that means is, if we are creating an object, instead of passing it or injecting it as a dependency, we need to be concerned about all the details of creating those objects. So this is a very simple example, but there might be a case where we might need to pass multiple parameters to create that object. And if we do not inject the object, we might have to initialize those parameters and do various kind of processing here only. So that is something that dependency injection allows us to do. This object would not be needed to be concerned with how dependency is created because it is being passed to it. Another reason is it helps with unit testing. Now, service container that we talked about, it is actually the object that helps with this dependency injection because it takes off creating these services and then passing them as dependency to other object. And that is the reason service container is also called as dependency injection container. So if you read these terms, they are interchangeable. It should be avoided if possible. Next component that we'll be looking into is HTTP kernel. We talked about all these individual parts dependency injection, event dispatcher, and routing and HTTP foundation. Those are quite independent with each other, and it's HTTP kernel, or in Drupal case, Drupal's implementation of HTTP kernel interface, that is Drupal kernel, that brings all these things together. Drupal kernel is the core of Drupal, and it is actually extended from this HTTP kernel interface provided by HTTP kernel component of Symfony. Drupal kernel is the first object that is created in in Drupal 8. So this is Drupal 8's index.php. Oh, I thought the other code will be slightly visible. It is not. But yeah, this is the first object that is created in Drupal 8. And among other things, it creates the service container that we talked about. This is the code. It adds services to these container by scanning through all those services.yml file and instantiating them. And it passes the control to actual request handler. So in Drupal 8 case, it will be the routing system. So those five were the core of Drupal 8, and the parts that you will mostly be working with if you do custom module development in Drupal 8. Next 4 components are also heavily used, but you might not come in direct contact with them, so we'll just be quickly breezing through that. Serializer is another component that Drupal